There we go. So thanks for the introduction, Chris. So for those who don't know me, I'm Jon Hughes, as Chris said, Chartered Fellow of IOSH and also Global Vice President of the institution. Former chair here at the branch, and again, great to see Chris. I remember Chris not all that long ago. It's been 4 or 5 years since your first meeting. Like we've got some new people tonight, and I remember shaking well hand and saying, "Well, Chris, you can have a sit down. Hope you enjoy the evening." And in a relatively short period of time, Chris is now the chair of the branch. So that's interesting. We've got someone who's just passed the diploma. We're just not looking at bringing in new members into our committee for the AGM for February. I think we might have a potential candidate over there. So anyone else who's interested in joining the committee, again, always welcome to see people. And great to see so many new people here tonight. My day job, I'm Global Head of Health and Safety and Wellbeing at BMS, which is Business Management Systems, Quality and Environment, essentially, for a company called Turner and Townsend. We have 6,800 staff in 110 locations around the world, from Fiji through to San Francisco. So keep a handle on that is challenging itself. And our primary business is providing project management and cost management support to clients in the construction sector, primarily in real estate, infrastructure and natural resources, things like renewable energy, wind farms, etc. Our second role, we have 120 people in our business who provide health and safety as a commercial service in the UK, Ireland and Middle East. So I'm a member of the leadership team of that. I specifically run our training business and also provide strategic advice and support to our clients. So typical clients for me over the last 6 months would be Westminster Palace in the Parliamentary Estate, HMRC, Majesty's Revenue Customers. They've got a £500 million major programme of buildings and new offices right now. Eurotunnel, Eurostar operation, Transport for London, a couple of investment banks, a couple of NHS trusts. So I come from contractors in a variety of different angles. We have contractors who support us in terms of our physical infrastructure and premises that we own and we work out of, but also supporting clients in managing their contractors. And they vary quite dramatically. Over 18 years I've been doing this. I've worked with SMEs, micro businesses, through to many of the FTSE 100. And we'll have a look at excellence in managing contractors. I'll talk to you what the world's biggest airport, second biggest airport, Heathrow, are doing to manage their contractors. We'll have a look at how a relatively small business can manage their contractors. The principles are still the same. Are you doing something to keep those people healthy, safe and well? Whether that's with the CDM or the management regs or anything else, are we doing the right thing for our contractors, our guests that we've invited into our workplace? So what we're going to be covering over the next, how long do you talk? For hypothermia, probably 45 minutes to an hour or so. A few things up on screen there, so just establishing the basics of what is a contractor, what actually is a contract. I'll have a look at what the law says. For those from a construction background like myself, we'll have a little focus on CDM, but that won't be the primary topic tonight. We appreciate there's people here who will have contractors who aren't necessarily engaged from a CDM perspective. We'll have a look at how we appoint the contractor, the importance of competence. What is SKI? What is SCATE? Again, we'll talk about that in a bit more detail. What's SSIP? What's PAS 91? What are the approved ways of how to test the competency of a contractor? We'll then move on and have a look at the 3 C's. If you don't remember anything else tonight, remember the 3 C's, please. 3 C's could be many things, but in my world they are cooperation, coordination, and communication. Whether we're here to talk about contractors, whether we're here to talk about asbestos or fire safety or any other aspect of business life or even private life, if you are not communicating clearly between 2 parties, if you are not coordinating your activities and you're not cooperating, that's never going to be a happy outcome. If you've got those 3 things ticked and you're doing it, that's a nice start. Get your 3 C's right. Cooperate, communicate, coordinate. Life becomes an awful lot simpler. Moving on, we'll have a look at what are the information that we need around this topic of tonight's topic. Conversation, risk assessment, method statements. Great. Safe systems of work. Great. Job safe analysis. There's loads of different words for a similar thing, which again all boils down to, are we doing stuff to keep people healthy, safe and well? That sure has been the primary thing that we're aiming towards. Okay. First off, a contractor. Quick show of hands, who in the room here would classify themselves or their organisation as being a contractor? Great, fabulous. And so what do you think? You don't mind? You've got the room box there. Thank you very much. And I can lob this at anyone.
Yeah.
Excellent. When you actually read box,
we at IOSH Meteorology Services Rolls-Royce. We're one of the H S staff. Calibration in almost all the Rolls-Royce projects, so all Rolls-Royce has to be UK, which make sure that all the kids if you fly it flying safely. Everything is involved in building an engine, turbines, this the aircraft, the Rolls-Royce, and not much of the fuselage. We calibrate their equipment with a high precision equipment.
Excellent, good. So you're a contractor? Box. Won't be squeaky this time. So, where do you work and what do you do?
Bookings.
Right.
We do build civils and obviously we do our own build and we also subcontractors in as well, so we do it all.
Yeah, what kind of activities do you do on site?
That is obviously work on the railway, which is station vehicles, station business, works, building, all different types of buildings.
That's great. For anyone else who's got interest in rail, in April of next year we've got Alan Spence, who's the Director of Safety at Network Rail, as our key speaker. So again, with the wider interest in the rail sector, very welcome to come along and meet the man who's in charge of safety for that operation, which is quite a task. So a contractor, as per the Oxford English Dictionary, is a person or a firm who undertakes a contract to provide a service or a job. So if you ask somebody to do something, you enter into a contract, either written or spoken verbal agreement, then you have engaged a contractor. Any organisation sits somewhere on maturity model, whether again we talk about asbestos, CDM compliance, contractual engagement, your organisation will sit somewhere on that maturity framework. For companies like Rolls-Royce, they are going to be ultra mature in terms of their supply chain. They're not going to get somebody thumbing through the phone book and say, right, let's call out this company here to go and do something for us. There's a very, very detailed supply chain to go through. Give excellence. For other organisations, small retailers, independent businesses, they may bring in a contractor every blue moon. So for them, how do they know what good looks like? How do they appoint a competent contractor? How are they ensuring their contractors are working safely and effectively? So every one of us, every one of our organisations will clearly engage the contractors from time to time. There's different types of contractors, of course. And some organisations I work with have reframed the phrase contractor to business partner. For some, it's absolutely intrinsic. It's a key element of what they do. They have contractors that supply stuff that they in turn sell to their organisation. That's a fundamental part of their business operation. For some organisations, they engage with contractors so readily, the likes of the big retailers and so forth, the big supermarkets, the supply chain contractors permanently based there. Cleaning contractors, for example, on the FM side. They're not contractors, they are by that definition, but they're business partners. They're an integral, crucial part of what they do. We've got reactive contractors. All of a sudden, in some cold weather, internal gutter bursts upon the roof, they need someone to come and sort it out. You may be somebody like B&Q or a major big organisation with a big supply chain, it's the same firm that will turn up. It may be the first and only time we ever had to call somebody out. So in an emergency, when you need a contractor at their sharpish to stop that flood and get things cleaned up, how are you going to select a competent contractor? Have you got time to find someone on Pass 91 or SSIP? It's going to take time. So how do you deal with that? That's where get things lined up in advance. So when there is a problem, we've got reactive maintenance contractors who we can call on, who we know are going to do a good job for us. We've got PPM work, planned preventative maintenance. The ongoing teams that do the regular routine stuff, whether that's sorting out the exhaust systems in kitchens every 14 months, to the lift contractor who comes in every 6 months and passes the lifts. These are regular contractors that come into our business. The person who comes in to replenish a Coca-Cola vending machine, they're a contractor. The cleaning contractors in there. So many different people who can engage with the organisation. Doesn't matter. Does it matter whether they're in one day a year or whether they're permanently based on your site? At the end of the day, we're going to do things to keep them healthy, safe, and well. And what a lot of organisations view contractors as is that business partner phrase again. They're all part of the team. It makes no difference whether they've got a mighty badge on or whether it's the badge of the business themselves. They're all one very big team. Happens at Heathrow. In the Compass Centre at Heathrow, which is the main operational centre, you've got any number of different organisations working in there, but it's Team Heathrow. Our 285 staff based in that building will be sitting alongside the likes of Atkins and Aecon and various other different companies they've engaged with. But if you were to walk around there and see, they've all just got a Heathrow line because they work in a partnership. One team, all business partners. So, I don't anticipate dwelling on this bit for too long, because I think we all should understand this one. We've clearly got a legal framework in place to help manage things. We've got health and safety work act. A couple of key sections in there. Section 2, ensuring the safety of our own staff. Section 3, ensuring the safety of those who are not employed by us, which clearly is going to be contractors. Management of health and safety work regulations, having arrangements in place to manage safely. Regulation 3 for having risk assessments. Regulation 7 for having access to competent people. The CDM regulations, if what you're doing is considered as construction, as opposed to maintenance or topping up a vending machine, then there's a very different set of frameworks that come into place. But ultimately, the principles are still the same. Keep people healthy, safe, and well. There's many other things as well that we can throw into the contractor management part that we also need to consider. Environmental performance, sustainability, human rights, modern slavery. A couple of weeks ago, we got IOSH hat on. I was over at the Grange where we had a media day. We're doing some recorded interviews around a new white paper that IOSH have released around modern slavery. And IOSH is called to the UK government to tighten up the Modern Slavery Act. And it is some pretty stark reading to read what's in that report. For the world's 5th richest country, it's pretty disgraceful. Modern slavery, there are 43 million slaves in the world right now. 13,000 of them are here in the UK. We see things like the refrigerator live with 39 dead people in the back of it. What are they doing to the amount of time? Are they being brought over here as modern slaves? Modern slaves are working in the sex industry. They're working in car washes. They're working in agriculture. They're working in construction. What are they doing about this? They work in the beauty industry, nail bars and other such places. There's a legal obligation for employers to ensure that their business is not being tainted by the scourge of modern slavery. A crime taking place right in front of our very eyes. On a Sunday afternoon, you take a car in for a car wash and give a guy a fiver. Do you have any idea whether or not that is supporting or working with modern slavery? We're seeing the rise of illnesses and conditions in this country that we haven't seen since medieval times. Trench foot that we haven't seen in this country since the Napoleonic Wars. You know, some guy who's cleaning your car, wearing a pair of trainers and jeans, but doing that for 13, 14 hours, standing there in cold, wet, filthy conditions. And then going home to live in absolute grinding poverty and squalor. In a recent prosecution in Birmingham, they found slaves being forced to bath themselves and drink canal water, scavenging out skips and bins just to survive on food, earning absolutely nothing. So, managing contractors is absolutely crucial. Get it wrong, you get it right. Get it right, it stays right, and life becomes so much simpler. So, how do we achieve compliance with our contractors, our business partners? Let's change the phraseology. Rather than contractors being a pain in the ass, which is the phrase, they're good people. They are there to help us. They do stuff that we can't. Why do we have a problem with contractors? Why do we get irritated with them? They're there doing the day's job. Add our invitation. Rejoice in them. Respect them. Thank you. Please do come in. You're the cavalry here to help. Bit of a swift mindset. But you know what? What's that whole thing? It takes 10 muscles to smile and about 100 muscles to frown. Same thing. Treat people well. They're there to help you. If you start the day thinking, oh, contractors are on site again, what they're doing wrong this time? Nothing. They're doing what they should be doing. Been managed effectively. That's the theory also. So, what can we do to achieve compliance? Well, we're going to select and procure appropriate contractors that are competent with their own skills, knowledge, attitude, training, experience. We need to make sure that onboarding them properly So when they're coming to site for the first time, hour one of day one, they've been inducted. They understand how we do stuff on our site. If it's just a one-off piece of work and a one-off visit, that can be a little bit more tricky than managing your inductions, but it needs to be done. If the contractors are going to be based on site working with you as a business partner for potentially the foreseeable future, and some of the clients we work with, their contractual arrangements are based on 10-year frameworks. That group of people are going to be there indefinitely. They're effectively subcontracted and seconded straight into that organisation. So the onboarding people. That onboarding nowadays looks very different. If you work at Thames Water, then you have already toured that site before you even turn up, because you've done it by virtual reality. Long before they go into actual workplace and see it for real in the flesh, they've already been there. It's like déjà vu. They've been there in virtual reality. So when they do finally go down there with the tools and do what they need to do, they're exactly what they're doing. They've already been there, they've seen it, they've done it. But just in virtual reality. Whether it's construction under CDM or not, we're still going to have that essential information. We talked about pre-construction information, our surveys, our schematics, our drawings, etc. The construction phase plan is the stuff that the contractor, or principal contractor, has to provide the client to assure the client that they are going to be working safely. Now, for large-scale projects, then the construction phase plan is huge potential. For relatively minor works, like a TV on the wall, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with projectors RS turn up with a risk assessment and a method statement. A simple two-sided is perfectly fine. They may also have a couple of paragraphs they've written in there to explain that they're going to turn up at this time, they're going to park here, they're aware of what the smoking arrangements are, they have been inducted on site, and fine. That's it. 3-4 sides of paper, perfectly adequate. Why take 1,000 words when you can take 50? But for large projects, we need more detail. CDM is stretching, depending on what it is you do. The health and safety file. Great. You don't need a health and safety file if you've only got one contractor on a CDM project, which is utterly ridiculous. Because what is in a health and safety file? Generally not a lot to do with health and safety.
On the use, maintenance, equipment, how the building was constructed, the project,
As-built drawings, O&M manuals, operation and maintenance manuals. Not a lot in there actually is health and safety. It's more the hose manual on, as you shine in your building, there's the keys. That's how you clean it, maintain it, operate it, and use it until you dispose of that asset. Well, whilst you don't need a health and safety file with just one contractor, I'm pretty damn sure that when projectors are us hang their TV on the wall, you're going to want to see something before they settle the invoice. Like, how do I turn it on, please? Oh, there's the instruction manual. Great, that's an O&M manual. Has it got any kind of warranties? Yeah, it's good for 2 years. Great. What if it acts after 2 years? I'm sort of lucky that we can replace it for you. At least all the wire and the brackets and everything else are going to be there still. That's a health and safety file. So whether you technically need one or not, you're still going to get this. And a health and safety file for TV on the wall, very small. Health and safety file, £7 billion later for a new palace, very, very big. It's all stretchy, depending on what it is you want. So try not to think of CDM being a very blunt tool. It's not. It's a project management toolkit with a little bit of sprinkling of health and safety fairly just over the top. And it's a very flexible and stretchy piece of work. Great. Supervision and management. How and to what extent should we supervise or manage our contractors? Because they're the experts. The whole reason we brought these people in is because they do stuff at Rolls-Royce that Rolls-Royce presumably can't. Or find it easier to send it to a contractor. Or maybe offset the risk. Because maybe they could do it, but maybe, you know what, if we send it sideways, the risk now sits over there, not with us. Yeah, that was a mindset about 10, 15 years ago. But do you remember that thing about clients being the most likely group of duty holders to get prosecuted? And the most likely reason to get prosecuted is not managing the project effectively. No lawyer and the like is going to turn around and say, oh, really? So you have a contractor and you just discharge all your duties down, that's fine, don't worry, no problem. No. The agency inspectors, the CPS and so forth, they're clearly going to be interested in that. You absolutely have to supervise and manage any contractor you bring on site. Gone are the days when you can mythically turn around and say, oh, it's a contractor, it's nothing to do with us. No, it's everything to do with us. You appointed them. You're paying them. You're the client. It's your workplace. It's your responsibility. It's your risk. So, how often should we manage or supervise? How long's a piece of string? It depends on the complexity of the task. Depends what it is, depends how long it is. Depends on the number of people involved. For some, they've got a permanent team of people based there, observing, managing, supervising. For some, it's very distant and remote. There's no short answer to that. Open to the room. Has anyone got any thoughts on how often you'd be on site carrying out audits or inspections or supervising contractors? What do you do?
It varies. Depends on complexity, depends on client requirements as well. We want HS2 and the requirement for full time audit and supervision. We want to use a lot as well. On various projects, a lot of it's client led. As a PC, we have full time supervision on site all the time, whether it's a project manager, contract manager, site managers, works managers.
Yep.
It depends on the size of the project. We plan in tender, so at tender stage, estimate usually we put these resources up. From the beginning with a lower number, we're doing something like Amazon development. You know, we've got a £500,000 project with 600 people on it. It ramps up, supervision on it as it gets to the end. We start to tear it off, so it's, again, we say it's very flexible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's great. Again, so I just hit the pause button again. So, what do we do if things go wrong? Well, stick and carrot could be one option. I'm aware of some organisations where contractor, why am I doing this? Why am I working safely? Why am I working hard? Why blah. If things go wrong, that's the yellow card, red card, get off. Banned from site. And the whole company will get. Well, that could be an approach. But what are you hoping to achieve? What's the whole point of health and safety? HSW, keep people healthy, safe and well. Health, safety and well-being. That's what we do. So if you just kick a contractor off, they're not learning. They're going to get very displeased. They may be financially disadvantaged because their boss sacks them. Or it might be a one-man band who's owner of his own destiny. If it's not working for you, he's got to earn some money from somewhere. So what's he going to do? Get on to the next project and probably do the same thing over and over again. Yet discipline in itself does not cure things. Many of our clients have a very different approach. Some of our clients work in very niche areas. They work in environments where they bring in contractors to do stuff who are experts in their field, and there's only 2 or 3 companies that do what they do. So if you reject that company off site, I don't know how people do what you do, but that sounds fairly niche. If you do something wrong on site and you need responses, don't darken our door again, get out. Well, at some point, then your service. And if there's only your company and a couple others that do that, at some point they come back round again and they have no choice other than engagement. So rather than go for that character or that stick approach, it's much more collaborative. We've introduced a scheme, for example, for our commissioning Heathrow. One of our own team came up with this idea and we got floated up to the UK Health and Safety Board and we put it in place. And it's called SAFE. So this gentleman, little pin badge, has the word SAFE on it, goes on your lanyard. Little business card, goes in your wallet that says, you have full permission here from the senior leadership team. Not just that, it's very the full phrase of permission. It's not quite the right word, but I'll do. Full permission if you see something unsafe, somebody acting in an unsafe way, or in an issue of health, safety, or welfare, challenge them. Go up to them and challenge them. And on the other flip side of the card is if you've been challenged, you need to take that challenge with full respect. You need to work together as a partnership to get that fixed, whatever that may be. The near-miss incident reported from that initiative in 4 weeks went through the roof because people are now feel much more inclined to want to ask that question and have that challenge to the people in their teams. Simple things that we can do. So by there, if we see someone doing something unsafe, then we can challenge it straight away and correct their behaviour. The two of us have to sit and work together and work out a better way of doing whatever it was I was not doing right in the first place. So with our contractors, collaborate with them, communicate, keep them on side. If there's a problem, challenge it, but sit down and work through a way to be able to fix it. Provide training, provide further awareness. Maybe look at the 3E approach. Educate, engage. Sadly, having tried all those things and you've got someone who's not willing to be educated or engaged, then you would make the doubtful force side of requesting that person gets reallocated to a different task if many other interventions have failed. But don't just go for the blunt yellow card, red card, you're off. Try and encourage and educate and engage with them first. So how to look at appointed contractors and how to look at various things we can do on site. What does best practice look like? What are organisations out there that I engage with? What are they doing? Well, why do it first of all? Why do people strive for best practice? Why not? Go for it. Be ambitious. Strive to be the best that you can possibly be in what it is that you're doing. So one of the motivators is not least of which we're going to comply with the law. If we comply with the law, then that's got to be good, of course. So if we move on towards best practice, what are we going to do then? Maybe we improve the standards. Maybe it's that thought that it's not just safety, it's quality, it's environmental, it's everything else that also goes with it. What I tend to find in industry is a process that I refer to as mirroring, as in looking at a mirror. Client brings in a contractor. If the client's level is there and the contractor's level is there, that contractor's going to get to some level of client, otherwise the client's not going to engage with them. Your company is working with Rolls-Royce, and you must have gone through so many stages to get onto that supply chain because it's Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce need to be 100% certain that the brand and trust and reputation they've got, that they and their entire supply chain are all aligned. If they're not, that has a major impact potentially on their brand and reputation. So wherever you were at maturity level, you've had to get to, if you weren't already there, at that same level of maturity. Well, equally, you could do a client and you bring in a contractor and they are more mature than you. Well, that's great. Look at that, free to learn opportunity. Contractors are happy. Well, that's a great thing you've got. That's a great training thing you've done now. That's a really good initiative. Can we learn? Can we adopt that? Brilliant. If you can, that's fantastic. Maybe there's some value add for those around the room who are contractors. Is there anything you're doing that is better than what your client has got? If so, great. There's a nice bit of value add. Organisations are always looking to do more with less. So if we can offer them a better solution, a better way of doing something, and you feel it's appropriate to raise that, then raise it. Welcome that, absolutely. Productivity and visualisation. Again, if you are operating towards best practice, where you haven't got accidents taking place, you haven't got downtime, you haven't got lost time injuries and so forth taking place, then people are going to be at work, they're going to be doing stuff. Productivity is going to be better. Profitability is going to be much better. Maybe we can look for some kind of award or recognition. The ROSPA Awards, the British Safety Industry Federation Awards. If we've got best practice taking place, we can enter into those kind of things. I was delighted to make all this year to go to the British Safety Industry Federation Awards, and we picked up, we've got Health and Safety Team of the Year Award, which is fantastic, with the innovations and things that they've been doing over the last 12 months. Those awards are out there. It costs you £100 to fill it, to submit it and fill in an application form. I encourage any organisation to look at the awards, because it's great. It's great recognition internally and externally for the great work that you do. For some major organisations, they're there to set a legacy. You've got things like Thames Water's Health and Safety Club. You know, these major big organisations, the Olympic Delivery Authority, was the first Olympic project delivered without a fatality. With all the great learning and all the great resources they've got, it's there in the public domain. You can find it. Pinch with pride. Look at it. Thames Tideway. There's a good one. Crossrail, the Olympic Delivery Authority, the links and loads of free resources out there for anybody to engage with them and get involved. So what kind of things could we do? Well, maybe you could do what some of our clients do, and they introduce a charter. Particularly if it's a new initiative you're working on, so if there's going to be a new rollout of new stores or a refurb of an existing stock. If you've got a particular project you're about to launch, this works great. If it's you just bringing contractors on to do the regular day-to-day PPM and reactive, this may not work elsewhere, but you could still have a charge and expect your contractors to sign up to this before they sign on dotted line to enter into a contract with you. The point behind the charter is you very clearly set out your story. As a client, you say, well, if you're going to work on this project, or you're going to come and work with us, I presume you have to do something similar again with Rolls-Royce and others. These are the rules in which you abide by. We have a 4-pronged charter here with all my clients. Commitment, competency, collaboration, and culture. That then creates a health and safety program, because all things that you do, the vision and activities over the next year, 3 years, 5 years or beyond, are all aligned to that. That's powerful. That gives you many opportunities to engage with contractors. That gives contractors the ability to sit around and say, yeah, we now know what we're setting our stall to. When we're bidding for this piece of work, we're going to make sure that we include reference to this in our bid. Just want to build in our future safety. Right? There's your campaign tagline for your next annual campaign for health and safety. You get a monthly newsletter goes out, a monthly message, a monthly email goes out to them around the competency and the culture piece. We collaborate, get our contractors to come along to health and safety forums. Like any kind of initiative, get people on board. I'm sure you've heard me start here in previous times and talk about this phrase that people support what they help create. Any organisation that dictates, that turns around and says, there's the health and safety boss, get on there. Contractor, there's our contractor's back, get on there. They'll comply, but they'll reluctantly comply. What you want are advocates, you want people not just to comply, but to really get on board and run there. The phrase people support what they help create. Get them to create it. If you're on the larger side of organisations and you do things like contractors forums or health and safety events within your organisation, or you're a consultant that work with organisations, this is a great thing to start doing. Have engagement with that organisation. Turn around to the contractors that you work with and say, right, okay, we're going to launch our inaugural contractors health and safety stand-down event, or team meeting, or briefing, or forum, or call it what you like. And that could be a house Skype meeting, it could be a one-day event at a person's of your church, where all contractors come together. Key thing is, get them to do it. In advance, get a team meeting set up, representatives of those contractors all come in. So, if you work with us, Rolls Royce, they go back to that organisation. They don't have many different supplying partners. Get them together and say, well, what do you want us to do differently as a client? What would you like as a contractor? What can we do to help support, to collaborate, engage? Look at IOSH's 3 pillars. Enhance, influence and collaborate. Make that the 3 pillars of your next health and safety strategy. Get people on board, get them to come with ideas. Organisations on screen there, these are leading organisations. You've got Shell, you've got Crossroad, you've got Thames Tideway. Major programmes. Tideway is the biggest infrastructure project in Europe, absolutely vast. When Bazalgette in Victorian times put his sewage system through London, it was designed for a certain capacity. London has outstripped that millions of times over, and the sewage system is creaking horrendously. It is something like 90 Albert Halls full of raw sewage a month, or some mad figure like that, of raw sewage that still finds way into the Thames. It's huge volumes. They're a major city. New York and London are considered A++ cities, the 2 largest established cities on the planet. In the 5th richest country in the world, and we still dump raw sewage in the river of our main capital city. So Thames Tideway comes along and aims to change that. It absolutely is. Huge, massive Bedrick sewage system going straight through London, taking all that and sorting it all out. Fast. You can fly Airbus A380 around to those others, which is absolutely gargantuan, which would be great things. So Thames Tideway, there's some great resources. Google Thames Tideway health and safety. They've got all sorts of things in there. The blue card mitigation scheme, that's similar to what we've done at Heathrow, this challenge me card. So again, it says from the CEO, I give you full authority to challenge, that's the phrase I was looking for, full authority to challenge health and safety issues. And if you see something unsafe, do not walk on by. This gives you my personal authority as a CEO to act now. And if you receive this challenge, you have to work with the challenger to work together and find a better solution. Another organisation you're working with here, Heathrow Airport. Heathrow, across their supply chain, again worth billions and billions of pounds worth of work with these major tier 1 contractors, need to ensure that contractors are working safe and effectively. So they have a 6-part programme of audit and assurance, and one of those segments looks at health and safety. There's then 50 questions in the health and safety section. You're way above and beyond the kind of things you're going to find in a PAS 91 questionnaire. And through audit, it'll be scored 0 for that particular question, 1, 2 or 3. And over time, according to all the scores, if the contractors that scored more fees or the highest aggregate score is going to get pitched as being the best performing contractor. Now each contractor gets a personalised report showing where they are out of the 8, 9, 10 contractors. They don't know who their lines are. They see where their performance is. And of course Heathrow then get the whole thing, so they can see what all the contractors are paying. And the idea being there, again, through collaboration and innovation and sharing best practice, we get to the point where all those contractors will start working better, safer, more effectively. So there's little things you can do. You can have a maturity framework in place for the contractors. If you've got 2, 3 or more contractors providing services to the organisation, I'm sure your CEO or your managing director or your chief executive would quite like to know which one of these is the best performing contractor from a safety point of view. Of course, environmental sustainability, those things you can also ask. Yes, there's a maximum number of days without incident. If you've had an incident in the last 147 days, you get a nil point. If it's now gone a full year without any incidents, then good, you get high marks that. Over here we've got travel, we've got safety audit fines, lost time, incidents, all sorts of different things, 50 questions altogether on health and safety. That's what best practice is currently looking like. Across these exemplar organisations, these world-class best practice examples, these are the kind of things that we start to see. Now our friend here has just passed his IOSH diploma. Was it IOSH diploma?
Yeah.
Yep, IOSH diploma, fabulous. Again, great achievement. So you're grad IOSH, you applied for that yet?
Not yet, no.
Not yet. So you'll apply for filling, and then once you get the certificate comes in, for your diploma, you can move on to grad. Now when I did mine many moons ago, you had to wait a minimum of 2 years before you could then apply for chartered. Now you can work on it straight away. So by doing the IOSH diploma, you'll now move on to your skills development portfolio and maintain your CPD. Once you've got through your skills development portfolio, you'll then apply for your interview. I'm sure John will be able to correct me here if I'm wrong, but there's usually one of those kind of questions on a peer review interview that says, what does best practice in health and safety mean to you? Or what does best practice look like? Or words to that effect. If anyone's got a peer review interview coming up any time soon, get your phones out and take a little snap of that, because that, right now, ladies and gentlemen, is what best practice is looking like on large framework programs. They all have some kind of things in place. They all have a program health and safety vision. What does that vision turn to say? What's that strap line going to say on my health and safety vision? 0 harm. Anything else?
Well-being, mental health.
Mental health will be in there. Health is safe and well, yes. Anyone in the room who's not a professional, who's either working as a consultant, supporting clients, or working in-house, you may need to come up with a strategy at some point. This could be a launch pad for your new strategy for 2020 and beyond. That's a great time, moving to a new decade. So if you haven't already got it, you've got about another 40 days till year end to start working on your health and safety strategy for 2020 and beyond. Let's start with vision. It's not going to say let's kill more people quickly. It's probably going to say things like let's have 0 harm. Let's get everyone home healthy, safe and well. Let's do it right, first time, every time. Our vision states at the top line, the health, safety and well-being of our people is a core value of our business. Whatever it is, that vision is going to be fairly short and sweet. A couple of lines, a couple of words, a paragraph at most if you really stretch it out. It's a short, sharp, punchy, this is what good looks like and we will do it. There's the next one. You can say whatever you like. Words, meanings, put into practice. No organisation in the UK is going to have a health and safety policy statement that says how crap they are managing health and safety. No organisation is going to have a policy statement that says we intend to kill a few people this year. They all say the right stuff. The challenge is, are they actually doing it? Can you demonstrate it? That's where you've got some really reassurance of someone like a 45,000 or 18,000 certified business, because BSI or others. And these are people who could somewhere be in asset budget. How do you know? What assurances have you got in place that the contractor you employed hasn't built that contract to someone else, to someone else, to someone else, to someone else, to someone else? But when that white van pulls up a car park and 2 or 3 guys get out to come and do a bit of grounds clearance for you, how do we know they're not victims of monster? Effective supply chain management is going to be a key consideration above and beyond health and safety requirements and many things to consider. So, little slide there that popped up looking at executions, or notices rather, under CDM for the year 16 to 17, specifically looking at client's duties. Under CDM there are 5 key duty holders. The client is one, contractors are another. Who are the other 3? Designer,
Principal contractor.
principal designer, and principal contractor. 46% of all prosecutions under CDM since 1994 land with the client. And what that slide telling you there, that when the agency have gone and issued improvement notices or prohibition notices for clients, the vast majority are under Regulation 4 managing projects, because they have to appoint competent people. Not only do they need to appoint a competent contractor, they need to ensure that contractor is discharging their duties. Regulation 16 through 35. And if a contractor is not managing their responsibility effectively, guess whose responsibility that is? That's the client. So we've got a few organisations around the room that are contractors. Hands up if you work for an organisation that's also a client. Interesting. So for those who haven't raised your hand as a contractor and those who haven't raised your hand as a client, I'm not entirely sure what your organisation does, because at some point you must be engaging with somebody to be client service. So you must also be clients, not necessarily a CDM client, but presumably you are exchanging cash for services rendered. However that may look, whether that's just bringing in people power, or whether you're actually bringing in some other kind of professional service, maintenance, schedule, etc. So, we'll look at CDM and the responsibility of contractors under that. A contractor is one single legal entity that is able to carry out all relevant works on its own. Where you need to bring in a second company to do stuff, you now have to have a principal contractor and any number of contractors. So 8B builders come in and do everything. They do the grounds clearance, the demolition, and then do every single trade imaginable to build a new building. If they can all do it themselves, then great, we've got one contractor. The second, they contract anything out to a paint and decorating firm, a microwave company, anything else. You've now got multiple contractors and somebody else, a principal contractor, overseeing all that. Contractors under CDM need to be appointed, and the appointment needs to ensure that they are competent. So how does a client demonstrate that the contractor they've appointed is competent? What are the 3 essential things that we look for in competence? Skills,
Accreditations.
knowledge,
Experience.
or experience. Yeah, that's key. Skills, knowledge, or experience. Another one can be expanded out to skate. We've got the skills, we've got the knowledge, we've got the experience, training, and attitude. Skills, knowledge, attitude, training, and experience. So again, how can a client ensure the contractor they are appointing are competent? I'll ask some questions. Imagine a scenario 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago where a government decision was made pretty much on the hoof to say that schools now need to expand the amount of free lunches they provide for their kids. It caught everyone a little bit on hot, which is a fairly sudden announcement. So small rural schools in villages up and down the land all of a sudden have a choice to make. They've got to, by law, start providing a lot more free meals to their kids, but what and where, how? So they decided to knock out the kitchen wall to extend the size of their kitchen. Now that's school leadership team, that may be an academy, they may still be under the LEA. Let's say it's an academy, so they're now independent and make their own decisions and are accountable as statutory directors in law. They know an awful lot about education. They know an awful lot about fire safety and safeguarding and all the good things they need to know about. But with the greatest respect, what do they know about CDM? So all of a sudden, one of the teachers in a staff meeting says, well, my boyfriend Dave, he's a builder. He can do a single story extension. That really isn't a problem. You know, he's not a major company, so you know, don't have to worry about the .VAT. Because it's been done over the summer, then he's got a cheaper labour to help him out. His 16-year-old son and his 15-year-old nephew. So why don't you get Dave to give you a grant? I'm sure that he does, and of course it's a great price. And the school think, well, every pound that we spend on a big building firm, that's a pound that we're not spending on books and all the good stuff that we need. So, okay, we'll do it. And they find the money and they pay this guy to knock through that wall and build an extension with all the best in it. Until his 50-year-old nephew, working on some dodgy trellis that he's put up out there, falls and breaks his back. The HSE get notified and they turn up and start asking a few simple questions. If anyone's ever been on the receiving end of an HSE investigation, it can be quite interesting. When that blacked out BMW pulls up and two inspectors jump out back at them, after they initially ask and pass on our deepest, most heartfelt condolences to the family of the deceased, or do you have an update on how the injured party is doing? Please send on our best regards when you speak to them. They move fairly swiftly to the case in hand and say to that person, can you clearly describe the task they were doing when they had their accident? Had that task been risk assessed? Had any controls been identified? Had those controls been implemented? Was all that documented? And was all that communicated to that individual and anybody else involved in that activity? Question number one. Hopefully the answer is yes. Question number two, to the head teacher of this academy. Head teacher, managing director, could you please just explain what methodology you selected when you ensured that you appointed a competent contractor to carry out this work? What do you mean? How did you check their competent? I don't know, so good guy. Right, it was cheap. Right, okay, but in terms of their safety, competence, awareness, I'm not too sure what they are. Were they on a SSIP scheme, like safe contractor, construction line? Did you use the past 91 methodology, 45 economic questions to ask? Or did you have your own methodology? Which one did you pick? It's not ending well, is it? The basic building blocks of that defence are starting to look a little bit crumbled. Best option their legal advisors would probably give them is plead guilty now. Because at least by having an early guilty plea in place, the court should hopefully take that into consideration and reduce your sentence by a third. If they're lucky. It's not good. Whereas, of course, if they're a much more mature organisation, what they've thought about things first, then they will have all the answers lined up and all be well and not be in a position where they've had an accident in the first place. So, going back to a contractor. A contractor is a legal entity that does stuff for you. The HSE don't make this law, but they strongly recommend that if you're an organisation bringing in other parts of your organisation to do stuff, that you treat them as if they were contractors. So clients I work with, for example, TFL. TFL for a CDM project will be client. They will also be principal designer. They will also be contractor. And in often cases, they're also designer too. Well, how on earth do we manage that? Fine. As long as you've got 3 C's in place, remind what are those 3 C's? Cooperation, communication, and coordination. And if they're bringing in different pockets of their 28,000 staff to do stuff, an electrical team over here and some design team over here, then they still treat them as if they are third-party contractors. Because the project lead running that project needs to assure him or herself that that IT team over there in another office of our organisation are competent. We can't just turn around and say, oh, it's Big Dave's team, Big Dave's a good guy, so everything will be fine. But everything may well be fine, but if it's not, we've got a problem. So they also follow this suggested recommendation from the HSE to treat their own internal teams as contractors too, for the purposes of CV. So, all good stuff. Regulation 1635, those specific things that contractors have to have arrangements in place for higher risk activities, working in and around water with confidential caissons. We've had plenty of that over the last few weeks. So the flood and air environment agency. Dealing in underground services, working at height, explosives, fire safety, welfare arrangements, all this good stuff. Contractors need to make sure they are complying. And as a client, you need to ensure they're doing it. How are you going to do that? We're going to monitor, we're going to do audits, inspections. Whatever method you choose, as long as you can make sure that contractor is doing what they should be doing. So, the client or the CDM or the organisation that is reaching out to a contractor to come and do some stuff needs to make sure they've got competent people. Not just go to Google, typing in, looking for someone to go and mount a projector in a room such as this and find Projectors R Us in Stafford. Well, I need to bring in Projectors R Us, but how are you going to ensure they are competent? Now, the great thing with CDM is it's a very stretchy piece of law. As the parliamentary estate is going through the massive multi-billion-pound refit and refurb of that place, their documentation under CDM, believe me, is somewhat substantial. But it is stretchy depending on what you do. If you are bringing in a contractor to mount that projector up there and all the neighbouring wiring behind it, that's still a reasonable task because that's at height. It's in a reasonably large space. If you're bringing in a contractor in a relatively small office to mount a TV on the wall to be able to put presentations on, still a contractor. Still need to have pre-construction information. Still need to have a construction phase plan. We may or may not need to have a health and safety plan. Those things are all different badges for the same stuff. Pre-construction information. Let's say this is a small meeting room. Let's say the other wall is about here, it stops where you are, it's this kind of square space, and you are having a TV mounted on my wall. What kind of information do we need to pass on to that prospective contractor that would form part of pre-construction information? A survey on the premise, yeah, or we can turn around and say this was built in 2007, many years after the battle on asbestos, so it's safe, or actually no it's not. Here's a survey to confirm. What services behind it? Schematics, drawings. Get them to come to site and poke about and have a look. Anything else? What about our management arrangements? What we need to consider in there? Things like where can you park? How many times a day you can arrive? If this room is occupied 9 till 5, then it's either pre 9 AM or it's after 5 PM. Maybe there's a very busy school next door, so again there's restrictions on times to bring you back. Maybe there's noise restrictions. Maybe it's the doors next door, this is where you get a cup of tea, a coffee. That's all pre-construction information. We'll take that out of CDM. You still do that anyway for any other contractor. When you're arranging a contractor to come and clean your windows, or arranging for a contractor to top up your vending machine, or arranging for a contractor to do some fairly substantial PPM inside your building, planning, preventive maintenance, those questions are still the same thing. Here's asbestos survey and register. Please do it. You'll be delighted to know there's no asbestos in the area you're working in on the roof. As long as you don't go on the roof and go to the plant, happy days. Here's where you get a cup of tea. There's the toilets. Here's where you can go get some fresh air if you want to. There's no vaping on site, so vaping outside too, friends. All this standard information is just the same, whether you badge it under CDM, if it's construction work, or it's just general maintenance. And on that point, does maintenance come under CDM? Maybe not. General message is, if it looks like construction work, and it involves construction skills, and it involves construction equipment, it is. But the maintenance of fixed plant on the roof, for example, where you may still need access equipment to get in there to get up onto the roof, is still defined as maintenance. Another way of looking at it, a lot of organisations I work with define it as the moment you disrupt the fabric, that now becomes construction. You change a hinge on the door, that's part of the fabric, that's construction. You get out a roll and roll, paint that bit of wall there, that's not construction. Some client organisations stick a financial limit on it. Anything up to 500 quid, that's not construction. So repaint the wall, probably less than 500 quid, it's not construction. Replace some ceiling tiles in one single office, probably not construction. Repaint this entire building, absolutely, for 500 quid, therefore CDM kicks in. Whether CDM kicks in or not, does it matter? If it's not CDM, it's something else. It's going to management regulations, it doesn't just disappear off into a health and safety responsibility. It's still going to do stuff to keep people what we're looking for. Healthy, safe, and well. Good. Where's CDM? Management regs, maintenance, construction, all the same. So, any questions on appointments? Everyone clear with SSIP or safety schemes and procurement? 40 odd different methods under that. At some time, hopefully, they are actually finally going to bang their heads together and realise that if you've got construction line, but your client wants a contractor, they should still accept each other. They haven't quite got there yet, but most of them are pretty much aligned. If you've got 18,001 or you're in the process of migrating to 45,001, we have that at BSI, and as part of that BSI 45,001 certificate for the UK and Ireland, we also by free default get SSIP. So again, that's another good thing. If you're looking at appointing a contractor, have they got 45,001? Just because they've got it, is it also from a UCAS registered certified body? Anybody could issue a 45,001 certificate saying you've got 45,000. If I'm not a UCAS registered body, it's worth about as much as footprint on the floor. Not a lot. Yeah, many companies out there with all sorts of badges and certificates, which is another one. Anyone who's got 9001, we talked about regulations earlier on. Anybody got 9001? Any internal or lead auditors in the room? Clause 8.4, what's that? 8.4E actually, it deals with the supply chain. So ensuring that you've got appropriate control and documentation for your suppliers. So if you're an organisation working to ISO 9001, again, another very good reason for managing your contractors. The standard says you have to. You haven't got a supplier database in place or similar and records of the contractors that you are appointing. Not reporting. Do it once, minor, do it twice, major, do it repeatedly. Certificate errors. It's quite a concern for us. As a business turning over £680 million, half that in the UK, we have three standards, 9, 14 and 45. We need to comply with this stuff. If we don't, then we are in contractual breach with many of our clients. That costs the business substantial amounts of money. So even for park health and safety, we've got a quality reason for managing our contractors. So, the three magic C's: cooperation, coordination and communication. What is all that? Hopefully we've explained it if we've gone on so far. It's about keeping close contact with the people with whom you are working. If you've got contractor X doing stuff and you haven't told contractor Z, there's going to be a problem. To all parties, you are that central hub of that old-fashioned cartwheel with all the spokes going off, all leading back to you. Probably you and your organisation, because you're the health and safety expert. You're maybe the one who's coordinating all this stuff. So how are the contractors coordinating? TfL, one of my clients, Transport for London, at Bank Station, one of the biggest stations they've got, handles something like 3 million passenger journeys, come in and audit robustly to demonstrate they do it. Can they actually walk the talk? So, we have a vision. We then have a program or project-wide health and safety management system that encompasses all of your business partners. Let's not call them contractors, business partners. If it's good enough for your own staff, it needs to be good enough for everybody else. You know, the public, your contractors, your supply chain, everybody. And again, people support what they help create. Rather than dictate to say, contractor, that's what you're going to work to, get them engaged. Particularly your long-term supply partners that work with you on a regular, ongoing basis. Procuring for safety, that means, yes, of course, we consider price. Things like UN Global Compact, that again, TNT assigned up to, I'd urge any organisation to take a look at that, even SMEs. It doesn't matter, have a look at the UN Global Compact and consider being one of the less than 1,000 businesses on the planet that actually sign up to this thing. Because if you are, and again, intending to engage with the business, you sell your wares as a contractor yourself in a supply chain, that looks pretty good if you can sign up to and demonstrate compliance in the UN Global Compact. That has in there, for example, the triple bottom line: people, planet, and profit. It's good to make profit, that's what business is there for, but not at the expense of people. Not at the expense of somebody earning £7.60 a day. Not at the expense of a modern slave being liberated from their slave camp in Birmingham, the second city of this country, drinking canal water, bathing in canals, and scavenging food outskirts. Court case for the courts in the last few months. In 2019, we've still got 13,000 slaves working in this country, being forced, having illnesses and conditions dating back to medieval times. We haven't seen before, like trench foot from the permanent walls. It's an absolute national disgrace. That's not good profit. That's not good business. So, procure for safety. Where we are procuring services and goods, health and safety is in the mix. When was the last time you recruited someone? Quick show of hands who's gone through a recruitment exercise and you've been involved in recruiting somebody into your business in the last 12 months. Excellent. Good. So, did you, during that interview process, ask any questions on health and safety? If it was health and approach to recruit, well, presumably. But if you're recruiting people into your business, a new manager, a new team leader, a new anybody, do you ever ask the question on health and safety? With pretty major organisations, and one organisation is now adopted and committed that every managerial position will absolutely be some core competencies in health and safety. If you're looking to recruit a new manager and you ask the question, could you explain what good health and safety means, please? They say, well, what does good health and safety mean to you? Health and safety, that's all you are, you know, hard hats and high vis, clipboards, you know, getting your way, poking your nose in your size 10 feet. Yeah, I'm interested in money, I get things done on time when the customer wants it, and that's the most important thing. Is it really? Thank you very much. No further questions, feel free to leave the building as soon as you like. Thank you. Not many companies actually ask health and safety questions. Why am I answer? Not many people, when they're not recruiting for an ops professional like this, actually stick health and safety qualifications or experience desirable or essential, even in the person description. Absolutely key. Another takeaway, number 2 for tonight, after you remember the 3 C's, is to go back and say to your HR team, have we got anything about people specs or job descriptions that say anything about people who are not posh professionals having knowledge, understanding and awareness of health and safety? Because it's pretty important stuff. Because if they don't know what good health and safety is, how do you expect to work in a healthy and safe way? Providing program training. So mature clients take the view that, look, when you've got whichever lanyard and whatever logo appears on your placement, but actually you're all one big team. And we're going to put all of our team through S and STS or triple STS, that's 5-day site managers course or 2-day site supervisors course if you're construction or IOSH managing safely or any one of the range of different programs of training. Thames Tideway, they go off for a 5-day off-site induction long before they even put a pair of boots on and get anywhere near a Thames Tideway site to make sure again that they're managing safety effectively. We have behavioural safety programs, we have communication campaigns, we have a range of different things there to raise awareness of health and safety. How many employees died in the British workplace last year?
Too many.
Too many, yeah. 47. Of those, how many worked in construction? 40. Thereabouts. 37, actually, last year, most recent stats. That's jumped up by 7 in the last 5 years. We also build a lot more things. We're a growing nation, so that's not necessarily a surprise. Looks about 147 dead as we know. There's a little bit of snow on top of the big lump of ice which sits at the top of an almighty great big iceberg. We will lose 5,500 people this year, 17 people today through past exposure to asbestos. We will lose 850 people this year through past exposure to silicon. We will have 2,000 deaths on the road this year, of which 2/3 of them, 1,200, are working at the time. The average business is 8 times more likely to have someone die behind the wheel of their 3-seaters wherever they're driving than they are to fall off a scaffold or fall through a roof or die in any other horrific industrial accident. And all that pales into insignificance compared to the biggest cause of death for adult males in this country aged 18 to 50, which is what? Suicide. We get 2 9/11s every single year in this country for suicide. Last year, 6,528 people took the horrific decision to commit suicide. 2,997 people died in 9/11. So we get 2 every single year. The Office of National Statistics don't break down that number as to those that are employed or not, but even if it's just 10% of those 6,500 people, that's 650 employees who took the awful decision to commit suicide. That's 2 a day. What has that employer done, or more importantly not done, to help safeguard that person? So again, health, safety and well-being, keeping people healthy, safe and well, and behavioural programs around mental health, so I into things like Mates in Mind. Having programs like the great Jason Acker, that was a good friend of the branch that we've had on a number of occasions, doing presentations around proud to be safe. You know, these are key things that we need to get that message across there. If anybody is not a supporter of Mates in Mind, I strongly encourage you to take a look at their free resources available. Have a look at some of the stuff they've got in place and find on channels. Ongoing assessment of marketing, auditing activities on site, checking what our supply chain are doing, making sure we've got that robust assessment and assurance like we see at Heathrow in place, etc. So, there's some examples of what best practice looks like. In another few months' time or a year or so, we could do peer review, if that question pops up. Hope you can think back to this.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, any questions on contractors? Or anything else we've covered off? We've kind of gone from the fuel as well, and health and stats and various things. Right, we've got a few questions, but that's pretty much it for me in terms of things to talk about. I'm more than happy to take any questions, have any further discussions, or any thoughts or ideas you've got on how you can get the managed contract accounts
Yeah, I was a principal contractor, so very issue with clients. Very practical clients contract and partner against each other. The next can stand off. What's your thoughts on that? Because you know, as a client's management contractor, you discuss that with the client at early stages.
With any of these kind of issues or disputes or challenges that come in, then early identification, early communication, again, would make a big difference there. We work with a number of organisations who their heads of safety and others regularly feedback with the frustration to say that they will have contractors bid in for a piece of work that would go in at a cheap price. And that's actually what they want. They want to use also effectively to manage health and safety. They'd rather have a higher price come in but have health and safety being managed effectively. And maybe they could be clear in perhaps communicating that. We're in a situation where you've got a client, a contractor, other contractors having a bit of a face-off for whatever reason. Again, it means like early intervention, like early communication. And hopefully on a larger scale, things like the charter that will have that clear framework laid out right from the outset. Is hopefully going to get that message across. We're all here to collaborate, we're all here to work together. The earlier that message is made, the better. Not sure if that answers your question. Any other questions? Yeah? Question over here?
Thank you. My question's about risk assessments and method statements.
Yep.
So I work for Rico, a global Japanese company. And we are obviously responsible for our site, but within our site we've got a partnership with another part of Rico, and quite often they'll buy print machines, equipment from elsewhere within the EU, and they've made arrangements to host that on our site for customer demos, etc. What I'm finding quite a lot is when you ask for a risk assessment and method statement, the provider doesn't have a clue what you're on about and find it very difficult to prepare information. So the way around it at the moment is to try and work with them to use our safety knowledge and machinery safety experts. But really, we're leading a lot of it. Where else can we go? Obviously, the other part is obviously you talked about competence. This is a machine manufacturer. They know their equipment inside out. So you can argue they've got the skills, knowledge and competence, but really to protect the company, where else can we go?
Yeah, great question. Again, it's those key points as long as health and safety managed effectively. It's that collaboration, so working with that installer.
Yeah.
So look, you're the expert in installing thing, I've got the health and safety knowledge, let's put those two things together and come with a suitable risk assessment, safety work method statement, to be able to do that activity effectively. Again, internally they should have health and safety representation within their organisation. Yeah.
Not very often.
Okay.
Thank you.
Again, at the point of coming to the shop and having it installed on your site, you've got that responsibility, so
Exactly.
the approach you're doing sounds practical and pragmatic.
Okay, good.
How else you could do it?
Okay, thank you.
In the absence of them having that health and safety knowledge. Great. Any other questions at all? Any thoughts? Well, anything else you want to talk about contractors? Any best practice examples that you've got you'd like to share on how you manage contractors or how you as a contractor manage, or conversely any frustrations that you've had in the process? Yes, we'll go here, yeah. One over here, on that side.
Contract projects we're working on, H S as an exemplar project is the collaboration, communication, with the client as well. But every day there's each member staff stands in the office and go through the activities, the programme, what the walkers are, and the client hall as well is very open. It's not us here opening up and discussing, and taking ownership. You know, somebody standing there, right, where's this wrong, each day go through it, it's green, it's action, red, it's open, and it's taking personal responsibility. That then, everybody within the workforce is given a briefing along, and there's a black hat supervising the briefings. Then, at the end of the shift, there's a debrief. Did we achieve what we wanted to achieve? If not, why? We recognise that we can praise and credit for the job. And that collaboration is very crucial to the construction industry. I think H S really pushes out on that. It's that openness and responsibility. It's not hanging out there, doesn't apply, it doesn't apply to my the airport as well, and all this. That's why I realised that we're looking at different agendas. And I think part one team is a very, very early development in construction industry. There's a whole team. Very, very early days on that, but on one of the HS2 project, we passed it off to the Zenmark project. It's better than in our assessment. The day marking ministers will get a long time.
And it's good when you raise that very much. One of the challenges that we get frequently is that's great when it's a major flagship Olympic project or research project in Europe or a major airport or a major refurb of palace and woods of a lifetime thing. That's fine, great. We've got all this nice fancy stuff, but how do you actually get that drilled right through? How do you end up with an SME, for example, adopting that or getting that right through the industry?
We've got that through the business now. My role is to promote that in the business sectors and say, right, this is an example of a project. Lessons learned. We then give that information to the other sectors, promote it, got a meeting next Tuesday, and obviously present that report, saying this is what you can go out to the other. It's something important after this is what's done. This is how it's managed.
Absolutely. Let's get that message out there and go on to these major projects, their websites. Very open, the information's there now. Good job, see what they've done, learn all the best bits. Some things aren't relevant for you. Shell's 12 life-saving rules, great, you have to work on all of them, you can do whatever. But there's going to be a few bits in there that are absolutely crucial for you. So just pick the best bits and pinch reply. Get that message shared. The question aside,
yeah, we're on the shared side, the sort of community that few readings. At the moment, we've got some contractors working on the roofs, and just so that they access the roof of our unit. So, is it our responsibility to look at their rounds and check that they can do the job?
I think you certainly need to be an interested party. So the key point there is if they're accessing their area from your roof, then yeah, absolutely. If they go through or off your roof while trying to get the site, then yeah, you're going to find yourself with quite a lot of responsibilities. So you certainly be aware of that process. You're one of the people that they need to be cooperating, communicating, coordinating with. If they're using your roof and also they're evacuating because of the fire inside your building, then how they made aware of that. If there's a fire inside your building, they need to get off their roof onto your roof to get back out again, and your roof's now on fire, it's going to get interesting. So again, making sure we've got that, those three C's, that's probably the key one there for you.
It was all done without any communication with us, just to look.
Absolutely. As I say, when things go pear-shaped, usually at least one of those three C's aren't working properly. Lack of communication, lack of coordination, lack of cooperation is the root of pretty much every accident you're going to come across. That's great, thank you. Any questions, comments, thoughts? Observations? Yeah, got the pleasure this side. Yeah, big players in the back row.
In my role, I'm a facilities manager and health and safety manager for a large warehouse, and as a client to contractors going through 4 and 5 days, I'm aware of what my obligations are on the senior. Going back to the illustration you used earlier of the school, where it's a head teacher making a decision on what contractors to use, how do you think we can get that message to somebody who doesn't have a regular involvement in maybe the facilities management or the contract management side, but they need to be more engaged? And I don't think the awareness is out there of their obligation or mess they can get themselves into if they do it wrong.
Absolutely right. It's simple that. Up until fairly recently, we had 12 full-on identifiable CDM projects taking place in that station with 750,000 people wanting to. That's a bit of coordination. Especially in some cases where you've got contractor has to go down a platform through one demarked CDM zone to get through it, to get into their CDM zone, you have it. As soon as you start dealing with members of the public, again, you start to have a range of different complexities, additional layers of safety management and control need to start to be put into place. So how are you going to coordinate each other building users? A contractor decides to do some work here and blocks the fire exit that's in use by somebody else. We've got a problem. How do you know contractors aren't doing things that could impact on the safety of others? Tony, is this being recorded?
Yeah.
Could you push pause? Great question, thank you. Well, that goes back to that point around in this utopian world of 20 years' time. We don't have to stand there and talk about health and safety because it's just mainstreamed with what you do, that's sort of business as usual stuff. When I was chair of the branch, I had this view that people sitting here, yes, they're WASH professionals, but actually it's not WASH professionals in one of these meetings, should be the case. There's no business degree out there that covers health and safety as a mandatory topic. There's no MBA that covers health and safety when they go and do that. We train people in business and to manage stuff, but don't actually give them the key building blocks of the essential things like sustainability, health and safety, all the good stuff. So how do you get the message out to non-WASH professionals? I think, again, through engagement with forums like this, get more non-WASH professionals filled with benches and great, free, come along. It wouldn't be great if a head teacher in the borough came along because they have got absolute clear accountabilities, but they may not know it. Again, through IOSH, collaborating with industry, both our professionals and the wider industry to get that message out. It's through people like ourselves to take that message out. Maybe do some voluntary work in IOSH professionals. There's a body called Safety for Good. I'm ambassador for it. If anyone's ever come across Safety for Good, Google it. Great organisation set up by Simon Bliss, who is the managing director of Principal People. Safety for Good, really positive organisation there to help change that viewpoint that the average person out there thinks we're some strange difficulties with three heads that gets in the way and causes difficulties. Safety for Good is there to get that message out there that health and safety is positive, encouraging people to do some pro bono consulting or to provide some free services. There's things like speakers for schools where you can register and you get invited in some time if you've got some spare time to go and talk to A-level students and talk to them about what health and safety actually means so they have an idea of that. Again, why don't we do that teach training courses? Why isn't there there? Yes, they'll do health and safety on the safeguard and that area, but actually business responsibilities and safeguard. CDM distinguished there, one of those.
Talk about excuses and investigation issues, my European issue manager was into one of the sites and the basin manager, basin investigator, called people doing like farm space work. That's absolutely. Absolutely, something. And so we stopped the process, and they came off some session like using my stuff, so we investigated. And sort of do this show every 5 years, and we were making them for a lawsuit or something. So what we did, we kept it sort of said, right, manage your confined space training, accessing resolution risk assessment, crash assessment, and so on. He said, well, nobody's ever asked us for these. So we were telling them what they needed to do, and we actually being the maintenance manager. So we've got confined training, we actually advanced the right to finish the job off, but we were fully trained, we wanted to be the best. And he said, well, all my friends in the industry don't know, we need this, just not just stay and do the job and go, it's fine, the job to do. So we can actually teach people now, and what we've told them, their friends that we need this sort of training, we need to try this in place. So it's really positive what's happening on our investigation. Instead of just saying, right, get off site, take somebody else, we need to do this at that level of competency, sharing that now within their industry.
Absolutely. Collaboration, enhance and influence all wrapped up in one. You've had an incident, you've had some lessons learned from that. Really positive to come out of that, which now you're upskilling the wine industry and people get engaged. Absolutely brilliant. That's how we progress the stuff. That's great. Yeah. Excellent. That's grand. Any other questions, folks? Yeah, what's one over the side?
I've got a loud mouth.
That's great.
I think one of my biggest frustrations is dealing with designers.
Yeah.
I think in the last few years, I think we've got a lot better at challenging the client. But the general consensus seems to be when you challenge the designer to ensure that they carry out their duties with the CDM to eliminate and reduce the risk. I think the general response that I kind of get back is, well, we've carried out our duties, there's your design, it's down to you as a principal contractor to manage that risk. I mean, just of recent, we put a proposal forward for a change of design, and we had to basically move heaven and earth and get the client to put a lot of weight onto the designer to accept that proposal and to come in and kind of change the design. It's really frustrating. Design and build obviously is one way to go about it. That way the designer is working directly for the principal contractor and more willing to move. But certainly when working with the client, it's difficult. It's really, really difficult to try and challenge them in any sort of way, because they're happy to throw the bombs at us and turn around and say, well, you know, principal contractor, that's your job. It's just difficult to know what your kind of thoughts on.
Yeah, you've raised a great point. I mean, designers are the least likely group of people to do prosecuting the CDM. Just 6% of all prosecutions have actually landed with designers. And again, I've lost track of the amount of design risk assessment safety courses I've done, where I have lots of grey-faced designers, you know, breaking out to sweat, saying, "Oh, what about responsibilities under CDM?" So I'm going to tell you. So it's safety by design. It's the principle of designers when they're designing stuff, whether that be a working mine piece or a whole great big project that they're designing, need to consider the safety of those who are going to build the thing, those who are going to occupy for its intended purpose, and those who are going to clean it and maintain and service that building forevermore. And the first group of people are those who are going to build things. So clearly designers need to be considering safety by design, those actually using it. We project managed, for example, the shell house of a very unique building. So where you've got groundbreaking or unique designs, again, that can be a lot more challenging. Design changes change quite regularly. That was HSE's view of the rationale behind introducing the role of the principal designer. By having the CDM coordinator sit on a limb outside the design team but supporting the client, if there are changes in design, which is where challenges may come up, they're not there to provide that health and safety input. So another approach could be via the PD, the principal designer. Because under the hierarchy, the designer has to design out the risk first. The principal designer then needs to review the designer's risk assessments and have their 2 pence worth. If you've still got a hazard left behind or a risk after the designer's designed it, after the PD's reviewed it and approved it, it's then to the principal contractor to consider all those different phases and to consider safety by design. And then find out if the contractor actually builds the thing at the final stage. So the theory is, across all those different levels, safety should be managed out. But the root of it is the design. And if you also found this, we've also had quite a challenge with a few of our clients, where they're asking back for the health and safety file, about owning manuals and so forth, and as-built drawings, and finding more and more architects' practices now, designers turn around saying, you know, we're not going to give you an as-built drawing because we can't guarantee what's actually being built. We can't verify that what's done in there is exactly what we drew on that paper. We'll give you a final version of the drawing, but that is not an as-built drawing because we can't guarantee what you guys as principal contractor actually installed. Which has proven quite a challenge to some of our clients. Great question, thank you. Any other questions, comments, thoughts? No. If not, then thank you very much for your time, folks. I'll be around for a bit later, so if you have any other questions you want to ask, then please do feel free. Thank you for having me. Good to chat.